Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Katie from Mitza Creek Farm, and I am in the pumpkin patch this evening picking pumpkins. It has been too busy at the stone coop for me to pick throughout the day like I thought I would be able to. So what I've been doing is I've been going and picking a bunch at night and then putting them over there, and then during the day I can wash, and I'm close enough I can go wash a couple as people are coming and going, and that seems to be working out okay. I found one glove, Van. I found one. But I am also going to be pulling plants here. I just cut all these pie pumpkins, so I'm going to go through. There's no other plants on here. There's a potential for frost tonight. We're in that season where if they don't have fruit on them already, I'm going to pull them because we are not going to be getting anything out of it, and then it just makes it easier to walk in here. So just double checking, this one looks like it does not have any fruit. Nope, so I'm going to pull it. There we go. And I guess I got to get a pile going. So just put that there. The beekeepers came and worked on the hives today, and they took, they've already taken about 2/3 of the boxes. Like I said before, I don't know my bee terminology, but like each hive has layers of boxes, and before they took many of those, probably about 2/3, and they left just 2 boxes for all the hives and today they came and they took half of what was left. So we are just down to, where are we? There we go. We're down to just the main little hives. It was really interesting to watch. I always worry that there's going to be something wrong. We don't spray here after the bees come. In fact, we don't even spray for flies on the cows after the bees come. Thankfully, this year was not really bad. But we put fly ointment on our donkey, on his ears and his legs. Otherwise, we don't spray anything once the bees come because we don't want anything that might be in that to kill the bees, especially since that's the cow shelter. And so they hang out right next to and around, they graze all around the hives. So we don't want anything that might be sprayed on them to kill the bees. So like this one here, I am going to leave that because it's got a pumpkin on it. I'm not sure when our first frost will be, but it's worth it to give it a shot and see if maybe we can get another pumpkin off of this one. I love these sunflowers so much. Look at my little bees. They're doing so good. In previous years, we've used parts of this, but in this general area, this will be our 3rd or more year growing here. And I usually don't like to grow pumpkins in the same area more than 2. Now, in previous years, like I've done just this area, and then we've grown mums here. Like I believe it was last year, we grew mums in this area, and we grew pumpkins down there. But my plan for this year, or for next year, is that I am going to actually let this area rest. I'm going to work some good amendments in it, work some compost in it, hopefully, and I'm going to plant sunflowers here next year. I'm loving having these little guys, and sunflowers are super good for your soil health, and they add a lot back into your soil. So my plan is I'm going to do sunflowers here and then do pumpkins back there and going all the way up and around on the north side of the high tunnel. And that will actually be larger than the pumpkin patch that we have here on the south side of the high tunnel. I'm really liking the system that we have set up for planting. I've talked about it in previous videos. And I'm going to continue tweaking this and adjusting this in next year's. But I'm down here picking and pulling plants. This feels so good. You can see all of the pie pumpkins that I have picked, and getting them just sitting out here makes it so nice. So I came through and I cut probably 30 plants of the pie pumpkins here, and I didn't have a glove, and I was not going to sit and pull plants without the gloves. So that is what I'm working on now. So as I'm out here, sitting here picking, I have a lot of time to think. Got lots of time to think. When you're a farmer, you think a lot. And I see a lot of people who are posting pumpkins in Facebook groups, different farms and that kind of stuff, who are picking pumpkins that aren't fully ripe. They're not fully turned orange yet. And I actually had some people ask, why don't I do that? Well, if you pick them, like when people, my understanding, because I've always picked them after they've fully turned orange, or at the end of the season, if we've had frost and the plants are dead, I'll cut the pumpkins off then. But my thought is that people will pick the pumpkins when they're still partially green, because it's pretty ripe and they will continue to ripen after you pick them. So they will continue to turn orange for the most part after they are picked. And second, a lot of people don't have the luxury that I do of going to my patch every single day and picking ripe pumpkins. And so they need to pick and be done picking so that they can sell. And so that is kind of how it is. I think in most places, I just really have the luxury of keeping things really accessible, so I can get in and pick as often as I possibly can and pick the ripe ones as I go. This is a prime example of that. This still has a little bit of green veining, but it's pretty orange. I believe other farmers would probably pick this and put it out to sell, because it will continue to ripen. But if you look at the little tendril there, it is not fully dry, and so it isn't fully ripe yet. So since I have time, I'm just going to leave this on there, and I can come and pick it in a couple days. This part will be fully dry then, and the pumpkin will be fully orange. I don't know if you can hear, but the turkeys, there's a couple over there that are gobbling. It's like a little baby gobble. It is so adorable. It's fun to be out here and like listen to all the animals and stuff. Anyways, so I am out here picking now to make things a lot more efficient, which I need when I'm doing this, because it is so labor intensive at this point, and the way I do things is a lot more labor intensive, but I kind of make up for it in the not weeding, not spraying, all of that. But because it is so labor intensive at this point, I might in the future come through and just start picking and just put everything out. And we're at the point where everything should be reaching maturity. I might end up in the future doing that just so that things are more efficient. Picking is more efficient, but at this point, I'd rather have the full price of a pumpkin than have to mark it down or not even be able to use it. But with that said, we do give any that look like they're not going to make it to the cows over there and to the sheep, because if they are young and they are not going to be fully ripe, we give it to them and they will happily eat it. I love these pumpkins. These are, I don't remember if it's Lady Godiva or Kakai naked seeded, but they're the naked seeded pumpkins. Their seeds don't have that hard shell on them, so they are really good for cooking with and roasting. And so I'm not even sure if I'm going to put these out. I might keep them for myself. Just depends on how many we got out of them. But man, this one is beautiful. This is fully ripe right there. So it's orange and green, and it almost looks camouflage. Just looks awesome. This one, not quite ripe yet. Owen and Beck are going to my uncle's tomorrow to do the first picking there. It sounds like he might have powdery mildew, or, he was able to plant a lot earlier than me because he is actually a zone warmer than me, even though he lives like an hour away. So they are going down to do the first picking or possibly a full picking tomorrow. So that means we will have tons of carvers and squash, because my uncle grows a lot of the vining ones for us. We have the vining field up in front, but the vining carvers really take up a ton of room. And so he loves to garden. He has an amazing garden, and he, I've explained in the past, he offered to grow pumpkins for us. And so we happily will take that, and we pay him, and he is happy with that. So that works out really nice. It's one less thing off of my plate. Yes, we have to go down and pick and haul them here, but it works out really nice because he's able to water. It makes it so that we don't have to devote so much space. It allows us to use some space for cattle grazing or sheep grazing or whatever. So it's kind of a win-win for both of us. So he called, said there's pumpkins ready. So Owen and Beck are going to go down and pick tomorrow. I'm excited to see what they bring home with that because his pumpkins were looking really good a few weeks ago. It looks nice having all this nice and open.